How you doing? Okay, so today what we basically covered is getting back on track and refocusing when you fall off of your thought process of what you're supposed to be taking care of. So let's say you have an issue that's going to take you a little bit of time to address or handle, and or it could be a series of issues that are all intertwined that you need to really deal with and focus on. What we basically covered was a way that, first off, why people would fall off track, and the way that you can get back on track with step-by-step techniques and reasons as to why. So let's start off with the why. The why is, of course, what would cause somebody to jump off track? Well, the first thing we went over is pretty much hoping the problem will fix and take care of itself. A lot of times what we can do is the life we live can be very stressful depending on what we're dealing with at the time. And we often can try to put things off hoping that they'll be easier later, or hoping for somehow magic or whatever works out or whatever can happen that it'll actually take care of itself. And it won't usually. The problem can only get worse because if you continue to put it off, it could be less time for you to address the issue. So always remember, trying to put something off and hoping it fixes itself is not really going to be the way you want to try to address your issues. Also, another one here, because it's stressful. So if something is stressful, of course, naturally, we tend to try to avoid it. This can be in a day-to-day situation, whether it be somebody who wants to fight you, or somebody who wants to argue or yell at you, or somebody who's always trying to pick a bone with you or something like that. We tend to avoid those people, or we tend to avoid those type of scenarios actively. Problem with this particular problem, if it's something you have to deal with and it's a goal that you have to address, you can't really continuously put it off because it's stressful. You have to address the problem head on. Now, the way you address the problem head on can differentiate. It really determines how you think, what is the best for you, and what is more comfortable for you to address it in. But always remember, because it's stressful is never a good reason to try to put something off. All right. Also, obstacles. When people hit obstacles, what we often tend to do, if there's something that we can't address right away in a few minutes, or if there's something, let's say I have an idea of which way I wanted to go and take care of this issue, but as a result of maybe an obstacle coming up or something that's not allowing me to go the way that I originally thought I could, we tend to just back off like, hey, look, I didn't expect all this. I didn't come here for all this. Or, hey, look, there's an obstacle that just came up, so I figure as though, maybe I just need to relax for a minute and chill and kill a couple of weeks off, and, maybe I'll come back to it and think about it then. Well, here's the thing. Just because you took time off doesn't mean that you're going to get around this obstacle. The obstacle could still be there when you come back, depending on what it is, of course. So, if you come across an obstacle, you need to start actively thinking of ways that you can defeat that obstacle or, overcome whatever it is that's blocking you. So another reason people put things off or, just need to get refocused is because of laziness. Laziness is one of those things we all really deal with. It's not really something I think anybody is void of. Everybody has some degree of laziness to an extent. So realizing that, what we need to understand is laziness is one of those things where, you continuously say, I got time, I got 2 months to deal with this. I can kill a week. I can just go out and party. I can go get a drink or so. I can do whatever I want. I got 2 months. Next thing you know, you've had that mentality for a month and a half, and you've got less than a month to handle your issues, which would have taken you 2 months. So now you're scrambling at the last minute. Okay, so that's a why. All right, so let's go over the how to get back on track bullet points. The first one I like to say is because it has to be done. That is a great mentality you need to keep. You have to do it. It's gonna come up. Your time is coming. There's no way you can avoid it. So you have to actively do something about it. What I also said here, take 20 minutes a day to work on your issue. If you can't completely resolve it, of course, in a day or even a week, take 20 minutes a day or however much time you can schedule within your week. Have an overall time frame of what you want to do and just attack it daily. If you have to spend a few minutes a day, that's fine. But, gather your results and think about what you have to do and execute. All right. Talking about your issues and venting. This is one thing I often struggle with because I don't like to put my issues completely out there with people. I feel like people have enough things that they go through on a day-to-day basis and a daily activity where I don't want to really project my problems among other people. That's something I really need to work on myself, but it's very important that you find a way to vent because venting can be an excellent outlet which can help your mind address whatever issues you're going through. So yeah, it conditions the mind to deal with those specific issues. Try to figure out a way to execute the problem with little stress, or execute problem solving with little stress. So this can be set your alarm for a later time when you're free to think about the issue. That way, when you're at work or you're doing something with your children or your family, you're not letting that constantly drain your energy and stop you from enjoying your time with your family. This can be something that can help everybody, I believe. If you have to take your son out to go see a movie, the last thing you want to be doing is just in a dumps and in a drag from some other things he has no control over. He's enjoying his time with his father or his parents or whatever it may be. And you don't want to take that time away from him by just focusing on the negative. Also, set your alarm for time to execute. So let's say I get off at 7 o'clock and I want to set my alarm for 8 o'clock to have a half hour to brainstorm how to solve this problem. And then after a half an hour goes by, I set my alarm for after half an hour to execute. That's a great way to do it. So yeah, that's something we need to remember there. Wrapping it up, looking into the future. A year from now, you're going to think back on that issue and say, I remember back when I was thinking about how to solve that problem, and it seems as though right now I've taken care of it. So that's a great way to think about it. Gaze into the future. And also consider worst case scenarios. This will help you beat laziness. Putting it off can make it 10 times worse than addressing it head on could ever do. Very much a possibility. So that's what we covered today in a quick lesson. Join me next week and we'll be covering some other things. Don't know exactly yet what we're going to be covering. I'll probably drop a video in between the week to let you know. Take care.